9 o'clock here in New York, and they go back on the hot seat today. The IRS commissioner returning to Capitol Hill to face lawmakers yet again over 2 years of lost emails. 2 years connected to top officials at the center of the targeting investigation. Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic weekend as summer rolls along. Martha had a great weekend because she's not here today.
Yes.
I'm Bill Hemmer. Welcome here to America's Newsroom. How you doing, Patty Ann?
I'm great, thanks. I'm Patty Ann Brown in today for Martha McCallum. The IRS chief taking a bruising during Friday's hearings. Paul Ryan basically accusing him of lying to the American people.
This is a pattern of abuse, a pattern of behavior that is not giving us any confidence that this agency is being impartial. I don't believe you. This is incredible.
I have a long career. That's the first time anybody has said that you do not believe me. I
don't believe you.
You perhaps have not seen nothing yet. Expected to get even worse when Koskinen faces Darrell Issa in the fiery House Oversight Committee. That's been the hot on the heels of this story for a couple years. Stephen Hayes, senior writer, Weekly Standard, and a Fox News contributor. Steve, good morning to you.
Morning, Bill.
How does the story advance today?
Well, I would expect that ISIS committee is going to look very carefully at the reasons that the IRS officials have given for not disclosing earlier the supposed loss of these emails. When did they know that they were missing? Why didn't they report that earlier? Why didn't they disclose that of their own volition rather than waiting to be grilled about it? There are so many questions about the disappearance of these emails and the story that the IRS is selling. I would expect them to hammer these officials about that tonight.
Does this pass the smell test? Because you've got this company that apparently was fired by the IRS that goes ahead and retrieves emails right around the same time they were investigating, Steve.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does not at all pass the smell test. I think what we've gone from over just the past couple weeks is a story with very serious questions that had yet to be answered to what is pretty clearly a deliberate attempt to deceive on the part of the IRS. The question now, I think, is who is involved in that attempt to deceive? When did they know the relevant information, and why weren't they disclosing it earlier? It's a disgrace that we haven't at this point seen the president push for a special prosecutor. I mean, this is so far beyond that point. We should have one immediately.
Well, who else is reporting on this? I mean, where do you find it, Steve?
Well, speaking of disgraces, this is something that I shouldn't be surprised, and I'm absolutely blown away at the lack of coverage in the establishment media. I mean, people who have made the comparison to the 18 minutes of missing Nixon tapes, that's what this is. If you have sort of basic journalism 101 level curiosity, this is a story that should require you to want to get answers to these questions. And in my edition of the New York Times this morning, there was literally not a word in the front section of the New York Times. I mean, they had articles about democracy in Hong Kong. They had articles about curling in Arizona, but nothing about the IRS scandals. That's a disgrace.
It's like Dan Henninger wrote in the Wall Street Journal last week. You know, Watergate was the powerful working on the powerful. And this is the powerful working on everyday Americans all across the country. I talked to a lot of people over the weekend. What surprised me is how little they know about this story. And perhaps the reason for that is what you just laid out. Other people, other outlets are not following it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going back and rereading some of the stuff that I'd written or said before and had read before. The more you know about the details of this story, the more troubling it becomes.
Steve, thank you. Stephen Hayes there in Washington leading our week there on this Monday. Thank you, Steve. As we mentioned, Koskinen faces that Oversight Committee later today. Darrell Issa, chairman of that committee, will join us next hour. Issa is here live on the questions he has, and they are many, for the IRS chief. Do not miss that.